Hey friend, welcome to the treehouse. Want to come inside? Oh, wait, just one last thing. All right, let's go inside. Welcome everyone back to the treehouse, to the office. Hey everyone, Phil here, and this is the first official edition of what I'm calling Frame by Frame, the weekly show that I am packaging together as my photo critique show, where I'll be going through your weekly challenge photos. I'll be looking at other photos given time, but excited to be back behind the microphone and here with you. I know a lot of you have wanted to get more photo critiques, and I felt like what I needed to do was put it together in a little package and do it. So happy to be here. So I do have a little bit of a presentation that I will be sharing, a little bit of what's new with me. Live Q&A with Will and Sam. That's not happening today. That's happening. I just want to announce that next Wednesday at 2 p.m. Pacific time, we'll be doing that. And then we'll get on to the photo reviews. Hello, everyone watching live. Maria, very welcome. Thank you for tuning in. Let me know if everything sounds good, everything looks good, my microphone's working. It's been a minute since I've had my setup going for the live stream, so I just want to make sure everything sounds good and looks good. And yeah, excited to be here. So if you're tuning in, if you're live, post a chat over on the YouTube page. So you probably can see this video maybe in the Plus community or different places. The main chat that I'm going to be looking at is the live stream over on the Photography and Friends YouTube channel. So chat there and let me know, if you're here live, what was one of your favorite things you did this summer, if you're in the Northern Hemisphere, or winter or rainy season down in the Southern Hemisphere. Welcome, Carolyn, Emma, what's up? Colette, hello, welcome. Thanks for being here. So it's been a minute since you've seen me. I think the last thing that I probably did was the Photo Dash season 2. Oh, except for the like 50 emails that you got from me yesterday, which I want to apologize for. That was some sort of error glitch when I created this these events over in the community, so apologize for that. I know that was probably super annoying for you to get so many emails. I will try not to let that happen again. Lunas, Cesar, Melissa, AMS Photography, what's up? Hello from Croatia, South Carolina, Germany. Awesome to have you guys here with me live. Wow, exciting to have people back in the Photography and Friends live stream. And very favorite, yes, my question was favorite memory from summer, and I'll share a couple of mine. Very had her own photography solo exhibition in Tuscany. Round of applause, that's awesome. What have I been up to? Well, it was a little bit of a slower summer in terms of workload. I try to kind of create sort of like a teacher's schedule where I take a lot of the summer weeks off so that with my kids who are home for summer, I can spend a couple months with them. I kind of pump the brakes the rest of the year, full gas on doing projects and things, but I've been lucky enough to be able to slow down over the summer. And so along with, just hanging out, swim lessons for the kids, that kind of stuff, I did get to go on a great adventure to France and Switzerland with my family. And I have a couple pictures from there. We started in Paris, and then we took a train down to Annecy, which is on the eastern side of France near Geneva. And you see that photo in the top left. That was just an iPhone photo. It was just so beautiful there. And just the light, the sunsets were amazing. I got to see a stage of the Tour de France, which was a lifelong dream of mine. That was when we were based out of Annecy. We went to a town called Beaufort. In the bottom left, that's Sion, Switzerland, where I proposed to my wife 11 years ago, and we went back and visited. went on a bike ride. That was back in Annecy. And then the middle picture is in La Folie, Switzerland, where I have some family. So really awesome, amazing trip. And hopefully I'll be sharing some more photos in the future. Welcome, everyone. Peter says, oh, Annecy is so beautiful. Yeah, if anyone's been to Annecy or any of these other towns, gosh, yeah, amazing, amazing places. So that was my summer. And over the past couple weeks, what I've been doing a lot of is taking pictures of birds. My wife would say it's an addiction that's starting, but I would say it's just a nice hobby to have, but it is slowly becoming a little bit of an addiction of learning about birds, going out and finding birds, downloading all the apps that teach me about birds. I literally rotated my desk, so you probably haven't seen this background for me. For a lot of my videos, I'm rotated normally, but I rotated my desk this way so I can look directly out the window to a bird fountain and a bird feeder that we put outside my window, so I can enjoy that view while I'm working. So a bit of a new hobby and something that I'm interested in pursuing more, and yeah, just really excited to get out there and be taking more photos. So that is my life. Today, though, what I'm going to be doing is I'm going to be reviewing the photos from last week's Nighttime Cityscape weekly challenge. And I'll be getting into that in just a second, but I want to just check the comments from the viewers, everyone here live. Throughout this live stream, if you have questions, ideas, thoughts, if you want to share your thoughts about a particular photo that I show, please do so. I think everyone likes that. If you're not, I assume most of you are part of the Photography and Friends community, but if you're not, go ahead and join that for free. And that's where you can post comments for all of these photos in the community, in the weekly challenges space. But also with questions, I will answer any question that I can. But next week is the first Q&A with Sam and Will, who will be doing it every second and fourth Wednesday of the month, Wednesdays. So more details in the community. And then last note before I get into the challenges is Photo Dash. I have loved Photo Dash so much, and we want to do another season. We were just talking about where we should go. We had a poll in the Photo Dash YouTube page, and it was between New York, Nashville, and New Orleans. And right now, New York and New Orleans were kind of neck and neck. I think ultimately, Sam, Will, and I are going to decide on what makes the most sense. Hopefully it can be one of those. Our schedules have suddenly gotten really busy in the fall. We were hoping to be filming it right now in early fall so that we can get it out later in the fall, but it's probably going to take a little bit of extra time. But the goal is to get another season out by the end of the year. And Maria mentions that we must come to Prospect Park in Brooklyn, and maybe that's probably in regards to the wildlife photography, but still, maybe we can make that happen if we end up in New York. So yes, let me just take a sip of water. Hope you're all doing great. Thank you for the love of Photo Dash. It's probably like my favorite thing that I've done since, creating this community, creating courses. Just silly but fun. All right, Caesar asked, can you do an app for the game? That'd be fun. That'd be probably simple to create some sort of app that ties in, drawing cards, but also maybe a map feature so that you could pin places where you take photos. I don't know. Seems like a cool idea. And I've seen, Luna says her Photo Dash cards arrived today. That is awesome. I get an email every once when someone purchases the cards, and I've seen maybe 10 or 20 people purchase the cards so far. So that's really awesome. And if you want to make a video or at least post the photos along with like the cards that you pulled, that would be awesome. Post it in the community, and it would just be really fun to see what you guys have been up to. Code for Kids says, I've been trying to upload my photos in the community with no luck. Send me a message on there. I'm not sure what the issue would be. So yeah, I can help you out with that, hopefully. All right, so I'm gonna get into the photo critiques. So one thing I am doing, so in the past, what I've basically done is just like talk about the photo, give my advice. I try to be as critical as possible, even though my typical personality is not to critique, but just to, tell you what's good about your photography or whatever. But I think you want critique, so that's what I'm going to try to do. What I have created is a 5-star system or a 5-point system, and I'm going to give a rating to every photo. Now, I've kind of gone through these photos and seen them because I created the slideshow, but I haven't really analyzed them at all. So everything I'm doing here right now is live. And for each photo, I'm going to give a rating. And you can agree with the rating, you can disagree. I would love to see what you think the rating should be for the photos. But basically, my baseline is going to be a 3-star photo. If it's a good photo, if it's well composed, if it's a nice photo, it's 3 stars. You're not going to get a 4 or a 5-star unless it like really, really wows me, because I want to reserve those 4 and 5 stars for the best of the best, the photos that really move me. And then you might get a 2, you might get a 1 if I think it needs a little bit of help. And I don't want that to hurt your feelings. I just want to be able to help you improve your photos. And if I give that low rating, I will make sure to give you specific advice on what I personally think you could do to make that photo better. And I say me specifically because this is all just my own opinion. Someone else might love your photo, might love it more, might love it less, but take everything I say with a grain of salt. I'm not trying to hurt anyone's feelings, but just want to give you as much practical feedback as possible. And yes, a quick question about where to order the cards. I actually have the community up here. If you go to the Photo Dash page, there's a Get Your Cards button at the top. And that will take you to the page. I'm not sure if you bought your cards. Let me know how long it took you to get your cards. It's kind of like a bulk card seller. It's not like the best system or layout for buying something online, but it's what works. Yeah, let me know, because it took me a little while to get my cards when I first ordered them. All right, so without further ado, I'm going to get into the first photo submission. And this is not in any particular order. It wasn't necessarily the first one submitted. And I'm basically rating each photo on its own accord. I'm not trying to compare one to the next in terms of giving it an actual star rating. So the theme, nighttime cityscape. I don't know. What does that mean to you? Let me know in the comments what makes a good nighttime cityscape. I think it's going to be a little difficult because it's going to be darker. So maybe photographing lights or things like that, making sure that things are in focus because you're going to be using potentially a slower shutter speed. You might have to boost your ISO and balance that. So does that mean you're getting noise and grain in your photo? And then of course, storytelling wise, what is interesting about your photo? Is it simply a beautiful building or set of buildings, or is there something going on in the photo that makes it more of a story, more interesting to look at? So let's get into the first photo. All right, so Paul Nan submitted this photo. Pretty cool looking down, right? From above, maybe you were in a taller building. I actually really think this is a well-composed image. I kind of like that it's not directly, it just happens to be where you were standing, but not it's not square lines. You're tilted off center. You got this person walking under this bridge right here, which is super cool, or this archway. And it looks like it's a party or something going on, some sort of event. You got the sunset, great time. Like after the sun goes down, you get all these colors in the sky. Oh, it's a drone photo. Yeah, that makes sense. And you got these cool iconic buildings in the corners. Lovely gradient, blues. I don't have much of a critique of this photo, actually. And even though it's portrait, it's still a nice cityscape. So, what am I going to give? This is the first photo that I have to give it a review. I don't want to. Okay, I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5 lightning bolts rating. Did that, let me know, did that sound effect come through the video? I put this together, but I wasn't sure. I'll do it again. 4 stars. Oh no, that was 3 stars. Sorry, Paul. 4 stars. Let's try that again. There we go. Silly. Chiaka asks, how do we upload the photos? You do that in the Photography and Friends community. So if you go to photographyandfriends.com, go to the community. It's our free community, and it's in the weekly challenges. That's where these photos are coming from. All right. Cool. Okay, so we're going on to our next photo. Kush Shah posted this photo. I don't have all the information. This is the problem with taking these photos and putting them together in this slideshow. I don't have all the information of like where these are taken, the settings and all that, but I guess that's okay. I'm just kind of like judging these photos based purely on seeing them, right? I'm not like getting any sort of background information that's going to affect like my perception of them. It's got that yellow blue kind of look. I kind of liked, when I think of a cityscape, I'm thinking more of like seeing like the full city or like from a higher vantage point or a further away vantage point. So that's in terms of like my interpretation of what that challenge means. But that doesn't mean that this isn't a cityscape photo. It's at night. You get a little bit of blur. It's really hard to see, but in the motion of, I think people might be a little bit blurry. Maybe I can't. It's really hard. But the lighting looks really good, and the colors are good. There's nothing really wrong with this photo. It's just to me not the most interesting photo. Maybe it's the balance of it for me. I kind of wish that you had panned a little bit to the left so there was more symmetry in terms of the street coming from the left and the street coming from the right on both sides of the building, or maybe moved even more to the right to get more straight on with the photo. I don't know, or with the building. I'm not sure. I'm going to give it 3 stars. So good photo. It's not my favorite photo I've seen, but there's nothing really wrong with it. Diola Doctor, you missed your chance to submit a photo. That's okay, because guess what? We have a weekly challenge every week. And if you submit your photos in future, people will see those and give critiques in the community. We have a lot of people, and I'm hoping to bump up the engagement of people giving feedback in the community. So even in the future, you can submit your photos. All right, Carl. Luna says, I would have just maybe made the tower straight. Let me see. I have all these effects and things on my thing. Okay, made the tower straight. Yeah, see, these lines are a little bit crooked kind of in. That might have helped. Yeah, making that tower perfectly straight. All right, Carl, this photo, I was struggling with this photo, understanding what this line is. I want to go back to I'm going back to the page on the community to make sure that white line is actually going through the photo. It is, yeah. I didn't really understand what that is. some sort of reflection, or maybe it was a long exposure or something like that. I don't know, but whatever, regardless, I like the long sort of panoramic view of this photo. It's on this black background, so it's hard to see like the edges of this photo, but I just like the simplicity, the composition of it, and the colors too. It's that warmth of the streetlights. It's very cool. So I'm gonna give this one. I'm gonna be harsher. I promise to be harsher, right? That's what I should do, right? I'm gonna give it a 3 as well. I think to me I like this photo a little bit more than the previous one, even though I said I'm not gonna compare photos. It's so hard not to. But yeah, maybe it's a 4, 3.5. Maybe I need to have like 10 lightning bolt options. Let me know what you would give these photos in the comments below. All right, Kate B with this beautiful photo. Is this... Where is this? Is it Lisbon? I can't tell. Who knows? Reason I guessed that is because like it looks like the Golden Gate Bridge, but I don't think it is. Oh, Istanbul. Okay, Istanbul. I really like this photo. It's I like the lights. I like the composition of where you were standing. You're able to see the building in the background underneath the bridge. And I like having all the different colors. You get the reflection of the reds and blues from the lights on the bridge in the water. And I think that's very cool. I don't know. Maybe I would have even like made the darks and blacks a little dark, or the shadows a little darker, just to like have more contrast. I don't know. Or maybe bring maybe not the shadows, maybe the highlights down just a tiny bit, so there's not as much glow in all the lights. But I don't know. The glow is kind of cool too. But overall, the color is really cool. I'm going to give this one a 4. 4 stars, 4 lightning bolts. Good job, Kate. All right, let's go on to the next photo. Let's see. Why is my keyboard not working? There we go. All right, Kylie R. This was an interesting photo because it looks like it was captured through a window, right? There's like a reflection. And what's interesting is like you can tell that the reflection of the sky maybe behind the photographer is like super colorful. But looking this way, it's all dark. So maybe you're like looking away from the sunset or looking away from sunrise. It's a cool photo. I think without that reflection, I actually think it's not as interesting. And I think it might be like the gut instinct of a photographer to like not want a weird reflection in the photo, and then you would just have this kind of okay photo of this building. But I actually really like it. I might have even cropped in just a little bit, like these buildings on the bottom of the frame, to me, kind of just distract a bit. I would want just like a clean line of these trees at the bottom. But yeah, I mean, really cool with the reflection. It makes me think like if you were standing way on the other side of this building, what would the sunset look like with this building in the foreground look like? I'm going to give it a 3. Good photo. Nothing bad about it. Just, yeah, interesting photo. Good photo. 3. 3 means good. Proud of you. You finished the task. Doesn't mean negative, okay? All right. Abhishek Nigam posted this photo. Abhishek has been very good at posting photos to all the weekly challenges, and I really appreciate that. Um, I think this is an interesting, super interesting skyline. My first thought is crop out this street, or at least straighten the street on the bottom so it's flat. Even if that means having to crop in and maybe crop that building on the left out, then that would be okay. I think there is kind of like a interesting dynamic with the buildings, the lights, the boats, and then you have this like, it looks like beach volleyball nets or something like that. I don't know. Part of me was thinking if this was something different that added to the story, it might be interesting to see this. But part of me is like, if you could have just zoomed in and had like a shot of like the boats, the harbor, the buildings in the background, that would be kind of cool too. My first thought though is just like straighten out or crop out this road at the very least. And then I think if you had, I don't know what lens you were using or a camera or anything, but to me, punching in a little bit closer would have been really cool from this vantage point, because you could see the lights, the reflection of the buildings and the lights, and then the boats in the water as well. Even just cropping in this long panorama, something like that would be interesting. So good photo. Thank you for submitting. I'm going to give it a 3 lightning bolts. All right, next photo. Peter posted this photo of, looks like from the distance, a city down below. You got the moon and you got some stars. It's really hard to see, but it looks like this might have been a long exposure. And even when you're doing like a 30-second or minute long exposure, you start to see the movement in the stars. So if you zoomed in here like crazy, which I think I can do. Nope, can't do. I thought I could zoom in. You can see a tiny bit of movement in there. And I think this is one where you probably could have gotten away with just not even doing a long exposure. I'm not like 1,000% sure it's a long exposure, and not just like maybe a little bit of handshake in the camera. I think what, to me, the most interesting part of this photo is like it's negative spacey, and you have the moon there, which you see like it's like I don't know, what do you call that moon when it's just like the thumbnail? It's obviously not a full moon or a new moon, half moon, quarter moon. Let me know in the comments. Someone says there's a plane trail. Yeah, good guess. 3 to 5 second exposure based on the length of the plane. Well, that is the type of detective work I appreciate in this community. That is good. That is really good. Sorry, I'm just looking at my birds. Okay, side note, really quickly. I don't know if anyone else is into birding or bird photography, but there's this app called Merlin where you can keep track of all the birds that you see or hear or take photos of. And so I just started this the other day, and I have 11 birds on my life list of birds that I've seen. And now birders can say that add birds to their life list if they just hear them or if they just see them. But I feel like, I don't know, that's just not enough for me. So I'm only adding birds that I get a decent photo of. But anyways, yes, I'm paying attention to what's outside my window, because who knows, maybe like some eagle will show up outside my window or something, and I'll need to pause this. Anyways, back to the show. Yeah, this photo, I think it's just not. I think the cityscape is not as interesting to me as some of the others. It's kind of blurry, so I think there could be a different vantage point or something, just to make, maybe even if it was earlier in the day and it was more sunsetty, even though I guess the challenge is nighttime cityscape, so that fits that category. But I'm going to give it a 2-star. I think could have probably, a different location. the moon's really cool. I like the negative space. If the sky had more stars, that would have made it interesting. But sometimes there's not stars in the sky. So, anyways, Melissa says she loves using Merlin. All right, we might have to start like a wildlife bird photography space in the community or something. All right, next photo is Colette Moore. Colette, are you here? I thought I saw Colette here in the chat. I promise I'm not going to be nicer to people if they're here watching right now, but I think you are here. I actually really like this photo. Long exposure to get those streaks in the street of the cars going by. If I were you, I would have tried this photo. I see puddles in the ground, and when I see puddles in the ground like this, I'm like, ooh, what if your camera was like right down by the street and you can see the reflection of the cars or the streaks of light from the cars going by and the buildings? Like, that would have been awesome. I still like this photo. I think just getting down and tilting up a little bit so this building in the middle, you could see the top of it, would have felt better to me, so it wasn't just like being cropped off basically at the top. But so I feel like the potential here is really, really good. The colors, I like the colors and the way that you edited the photo. The type of blue that you got with the edit looks really cool. I think in terms of pushing, compositionally, I think I could say, okay, getting down lower, shooting the photo in the puddle with the reflection could have been a more interesting composition. And then just in general, story-wise, I wonder what would have happened if, like, I don't know, maybe there was like a car stopped in the street, or an interesting car stopped, or a person stopped, but then you still see these streaks of light going by. That's where, like, it just takes being patient. Who knows? Maybe that wouldn't have happened that night in that specific spot. But I'm just imagining a photo like this in this same setup, but with a little bit more of like a storytelling element to it. So yeah, really cool colors though. I like it. Imran asks, how do you get that down with a tripod? Are you asking about like taking a photo down low with a tripod with the long exposure? I guess is probably what your question is. You can get a small tripod, or a lot of tripods can get pretty low. This looks like it was captured at about eye height or so, because you can see the cars down in the street below. You're about a little bit above the cars, so I'm sure a tripod could have got lower. I mean, you could use something else to set up your camera on the ground. I mean, they make little tripods like this big that you can use. Or, if you have like a little, like photographers use like bean bags or bags or things where you can just set it on. Obviously not great in the wet water, or wet ground, but yeah, a little tripod could have been good. It says rest on the ledge on the street. Yeah. So, I mean, that makes sense. Turn it upside down. Yeah, if you got the puddle and then you turn it upside down with the building, that would be cool. So I'm going to give it a 3-star, but so much potential here for a great photo. Colette, if you do you live in this location? Like, can you try this again, or was this like when you were out traveling or something? I'd be interested to know. But really great photo. Susan posted this photo of this bridge at night. Very warm colors. To me, almost a little bit too warm, like unnaturally warm. I feel like it might be the camera's white balance setting that made it this warm, and pushing it a little bit cooler could help it make a little, could help it look a little bit more natural. Sometimes, like, okay, I go back. Sometimes you just have to compare photos. Like this one, I could tell that you edited the colors to have a certain look, and it's not natural. I don't think the blues of those lights look exactly like that. It could be on the cooler tone, but you made it look this way, and it looks really, really cool. Oh, Colette was in Montreal. Okay, but it rains a lot in the UK, so I think you could do something like that in the UK, yeah? Yes, back to here. I think the colors are a little unnatural. Part of me likes the balance of this. It's got like the one street light on the left, and it kind of goes down to the other side of the photo. I kind of wish you were in the middle of the street. Like this is one where you, if it was safe, you pop into the middle of the street so you have the bridge going like directly down symmetrically. Or this bridge looks really interesting. I'm curious, like what would it have looked like from a distance? So in terms of cityscape, it doesn't really, to me, it doesn't fit that cityscape category. It's a nice night photography, nice photo of a cool, interesting bridge. And you could even push the colors. You can make it a little bluer, and then the lights on the bridge would have been bluer. The oranges wouldn't be as orange, or maybe do like a little gradient at the bottom where the street is cooler, the lights are warmer, so you have like a variation of colors rather than just all being this sort of orangey. So yeah, those are my critiques. I think like in this exact location with this photo, maybe symmetrically looking down that street would have been kind of cool, but then you do lose out on the balance of this light post being on like the left hand side. So I don't know. Those are my ideas. What do you guys think? Maria says, I'm all about getting in the middle of the street, risking it all for the great shot. Is that wrong? I don't think so. The bridge is called Blue Wonder. Oh, Luna's videos. Is this yours, Susan? Did you say this? Blue Wonder Bridge. I gotta look this up. Oh my gosh, I almost just spilled water on my computer. Ooh. Oh, interesting. Okay, let me, can I show you this? Look at this. So this is the bridge. Look at this photo right here. This one. Whoa, Getty. Jeez Louise, Getty Images. That's a lot of pop-ups. That's kind of a cool cityscape nighttime photo. That is very cool. Susan, you live over there, right? You should try to get a photo like that. Anyways. Me and my ideas. Keyboard warrior over here. Go take better photos. I can take better photos myself. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah. Anyways, did I give you a star rating? I'm gonna give it a 2-star because I think you can do a little bit better, Suzanne. All right, next photo is Massiege. I'm sorry if I mispronounced your name. This is a cool building. Is it a cityscape? No, but it's a cool building, and this is a photo where I actually appreciate the blue tone completely. I would have cropped in just a little bit more. There's a building here in the top right, and I would just lose that. And I would probably use like in Lightroom, straighten it out so that the lines of this building are perfectly perpendicular. That's my style. So that's something I would do. Doesn't mean this is wrong, but that's what I would do. Caesar says too blue for you. I think that's a totally respectable opinion too. I think perhaps what I would have done to keep the bluish idea is maybe somehow with a mask, or even if you just bring the shadows down and pump up the contrast a little bit, you could lose a little bit of the blue in the sky and around the building, but then just leave the blue light coming from the highlights. That's something you can do in Lightroom. I have a question. Can I do a poll? I don't know if I can do a poll here. I could do it on YouTube. I'm using a tool called Ecamm Live. I don't know if I could do a poll. But what photo editing app do you use? I speak in Lightroom. That's my editing language, but I know not everyone uses Lightroom. And but I know most editing apps do the same thing. Wow, time is going on. It's 10:42. Still got 30 people here. Woo, woo, smash that like button. Anyways, all right. So anyways, you could edit a little bit more differently, but I really like this photo. It's not a cityscape, but I'm gonna give it a 4-star. I know people are gonna disagree with that hardcore. I think people are gonna be like, "What? You didn't give that other photo 4 stars?" But personally, I like this photo a lot. All right, let's get to the next photo. It's going to be Hong Wang. So this photo, the upload quality was really poor. So Hong, if you could upload a higher quality photo of this, I would love to see it. Because right now it's honestly really hard to tell like what's going on. But I could tell that this composition is very nice. You got water, you got buildings, you got reflections. It's kind of this nice, not perfectly symmetrical, but just this nice balanced composition of the ring of water. You have the foreground elements, which I think makes sense in this photo a bit, but it's just so hard to see. So I can't really say much about this photo because the quality is so hard to see from the upload. But yeah, it kind of almost looks like an impressionist painting, but because it's kind of blobby. But I'm gonna give it a 3 because I can't like truly judge this photo without seeing a higher quality version. But I just think that it probably looks really amazing, this location at night. So I see a lot of Lightroom Classic, Lightroom Mobile, Lightroom CC, the Prof 3000 with Affinity Photo. I always wonder if people use Affinity Photo. Caesar uses Darktable and GIMP. Nothing wrong with that. And yeah. All right. Next photo. I think we got a couple more. A few more. Francesca, another blue one. This would go well with that one before the from Massiege. Blue edit. Kind of cool. I like the edit. I don't mind the blue at all in this. I think I mind in this photo seeing this ledge and seeing this building on the right hand side. I can see why you did that. I don't know what's to the left of this. Maybe Batman is to the left of this and you didn't want to give away his hiding spot. But but I need like sound effects. That would make this live stream even more fun. Where's the Batman? But anyways, but yes, I think like all the buildings have all these windows. It's very cool. And then you have like this blank wall and this ledge. And I would have just gotten rid of that. When I take photos like this and edit them, I struggle to know, okay, do I just straighten all the lines? Because you could throw this into Lightroom. You could use the, what's that called? Straightening tool. Aren't I supposed to be the expert? There's the tool where you make all the vertical lines straight. But that kind of destroys the reality of what it looks like. Now, some lenses do warp buildings. If it's like a wide angle lens, it might make the lines look a little bit, more crooked than they really are. But all that being said, aesthetically, I like straight lines. So using a tool to make the lines vertical, cropping this out, I think would have looked cool. Where is this? What is this building right there? And that building? Who knows? Francesca. I think I should probably have the photos post or the weekly challenge page up so I can check. I'm like, that's not LA, is it? It could be. Anyways, I'm gonna give this a 3. Solid photo. Solid photo. I think the things that take it to the next level, and I always say these, is like storytelling. Does it tell a story? Is it a photo that like captures my attention and I want to like just continually look? There's things around that, surprise me. And then generally just like an aesthetically composition. That's what I like. And it's got a lot. It's in Manhattan, New York. Oh, Francesca, you're here. What's up? Francesca in the house. Cool. So, yeah, that's what I would do. I hope you heard those thoughts. If anyone else has thoughts for Francesca, leave them in the comments below. All right, David Austin. Now, this is what I imagine a cityscape to be, right? Like, from a vantage point where you see the whole city in it's like when you're taking a portrait of someone and they're like, oh, this is my best side, get my best side. It's like finding the place in the city where it shows like the whole city in its best light, like literally in its best light. And so that's hard for a lot of cities because sometimes there's not the right vantage point. It just might not have a skyline that's interesting like this to look at. But this is one where I think it looks really cool. Now, David made the decision to do a long exposure, which I think is super interesting because you see some of that movement in the clouds and in the water. It might, because of the long exposure, have added a little bit of movement to the camera as well. If there was even subtle vibration of that camera, you lose out on the sharpness of like the buildings themselves. So if I'm being like super critical and like, okay, what could you do in this photo to make it next level? Like, Nat Geo style photo. Not that I know what it takes to be a Nat Geo photographer other than my wildlife photography out my office window. You could have composited 2 images. One where you took a photo of just the building, or you took the same photo, but you crop out just the building so they're perfectly sharp. And then you take the long exposure, and I would say even longer exposure of all the clouds going by and the water so it's completely blurry, and combine those photos. That could have been a little bit maybe more interesting in my mind. I think I wish the skyline was a little bit sharper, but still, this is an amazing photo. I love the colors. You get these wild pinks and magentas from the buildings and from the bridge that are a little bit unnatural, but look really cool. It's just this city shot from a really great vantage point. Lots of nice negative space, not in a bad way. Cropped out or composed the image without any sort of weird distractions on the top, bottom, left, or right of the frame. So, David, I'm going to give it 5. First 5-star, David. 5 lightning bolts. 5 lightning bolts. Let's go, David. Yeah, really like this photo. It's probably the one that I saw that makes me be like, wow, this is a cool photo. So, really good job, David. All right, let's see. Do we have any more? We have a couple more. Emma. Oh, this is a cool photo. Now, some people might hate that Emma left the foreground objects of these plants in the photo. And I could see how I would have even gone in and tried to like climb through the bushes got a little bit closer to the ground so that I could have this like nice symmetrical photo of this bridge lit up as well as the reflection. I think it's a very interesting choice to have those foreground objects. And if you have seen PhotoDash, you know that sometimes it's a struggle to know what a foreground object is or not. But this is definitely one of them. It adds to the story of the photo in the sense that we know where you were. Like, you are almost like an active participant in this photo because you can imagine standing right there, walking by this bridge at night. I do think that you like composed it the right way with like this part of the bridge in between these two flowers. But I don't know. Let me know in the comments. What do you like, the foreground objects or no? Maria says, I don't hate them. I don't hate them. And I think I agree. I don't hate them. Very says, love this one. I think you're talking about this photo. Colette says, I like this. Okay. Emma's getting a lot of praise from this. And I like just the subtle colors too. The subtle colors of the blue and the purples. It's not overly done. And as the Big Z fam says, it gives it a vibe. Absolutely. So, yeah, I'm going to give it 4. Gosh, it's so hard to compare. Compared to the last one, it's just a totally different type of photo for me than the last one. It's almost just as good. And I don't really have a critique of it. It's just like, this is the photo you took, and it's like really cool. I don't know. Maybe, okay. I'm bumping it up to 5. Good job, Emma. I love this photo. It's really cool. Good job. All right, Cesar is here, and he posted this photo of this cityscape, and I appreciate the choice of location. I think some people, and I can tell that some of these docks and places probably had gates in front of them. You couldn't get to a spot where you're just looking out over this cityscape. But I kind of like seeing the foreground. It feels a little bit cropped to me. It feels like the left side is cropped, not meaning you cropped it, just like we have this building in the foreground on the right hand side, and then the dock right here in the bottom left. I realize you can't see my mouse, huh? I'm like pointing at stuff with my mouse, but the dock in the front left and the building in the top left are a little bit, it feels cropped out, right? And so maybe panning a tiny bit to the left would have helped. This is the Sydney Harbor, Scissor says. So that's like my critique. It looks like you did a little bit of a longer exposure as well, which I think works. I like that look of the water. It makes the reflections look pretty interesting. Maybe brought down the contrast or the highlights, or bumped up the contrast of the building, the area with the buildings, just to so it's not so bright. Like the sky looks very bright, even though it was at night. But yeah, and so Caesar says, I wanted to get the light on the right, house on the right. So yeah, that's interesting, because I think my personal take would be to not get that, and to crop that out or to move it. But maybe it's a decision, like maybe pushing it more to the right, getting more of this building, which is interesting, but cropping out the top left bright building, which like our eyes go to the brightest part of the picture. That's like just generally what our eyes are drawn to, bright color, bright highlights of an image. And so because it's pulling my eye that way, I don't appreciate the building on the right, which is a really cool building. So yeah, it's hard to know. I wasn't there. Like potentially you could have like maybe stood a little bit closer on the dock in front of you and gotten more of like a highlight of that building. But I don't know. I think it's impossible for me to know. I like that red light you see coming from the building straight down. But I know the Sydney Harbor has a lot of opportunity for night photography. So I'm going to give this a 3-star. There's nothing bad about this photo necessarily. I think that there's a couple things that I personally would have done differently to compose it. Whether that's pushing to the right to really highlight that house in the building, which kind of is a nice contrast with the big cityscape in the background, or not worrying about that house and really focusing on the cityscape and making that the highlight of the photo and the main focus, which would have probably meant getting to a different vantage point where you don't have as much in the foreground somehow. I don't know. Again, I'm just saying this stuff might have been impossible. Maria, on the other hand, loves the dock, so she doesn't want you to get rid of it. All right, I think this is our last one. Annette. Interesting photo at night. Caesar says, this is my first week after starting the master class. Then great job. Really good job. Annette has this photo of, looks like a, what is that? Gas station or a fast food spot? It's hard to, this is a photo where it's hard for me to see what is going on. What's the subject? I see lights, but I don't see like clear buildings. Even this building, the fast food restaurant or whatever this is, it's obscured by these lights and foreground objects. I think the practice of a long exposure is fun to see, like, okay, what can you capture? And maybe if you had more light streaks going across this full street, might have been interesting. But I think for this one, it's, to me, I just struggle with, like, what is the subject? What is the cityscape for this photo? So I think you could probably find a better subject for a nighttime cityscape, or even if you want to take a photo of this building from a different location where you can see a bit more what's going on. So I'm gonna give this a. Sorry, this is a 1-star photo for me. I know you can do a better job, Annette. So come back, post another one to the challenge, okay? And that is it. That is it. That was the live stream. And wow, we did pretty good. So if you're watching this on YouTube, if you found this in the class or anything else, you can join us in the community. So let me pop open the community really quickly because we got so much going on there. And let's see. Okay, hold on. How do I get over there? Okay, so here is the community. Oh, I'm not logged in on this page, but over in the weekly challenges, this is where you can post your photos to the weekly challenges. There was a suggestion from the post about this live stream that I should go backwards and critique the photos from past challenges. And I want to do that. I'm realizing though that with just like, I don't know, the 10 or 15 photos submitted, this was already an hour long, which is insane. But I want to keep it to like an hour max, but I do want to go backwards. So I think what I am going to try to do, I'm assuming that more and more people are going to be submitting photos as I promote the weekly challenges and we do these live streams where I'm actually critiquing them. So I am going to try to go through, maybe I'll do like a speed round of the past ones. I don't know. Let me know what you think, but I do want to get back to these old ones and give critique to the photos as well. So we'll see what I can do. Maybe I will do a speed round of just going through as many as possible at the end of the show. I don't know. Time flies. Can you do one more hour? Yeah, maybe I'll do like a 24-hour marathon photo critique. No, my voice, I feel my throat. It's like I talk a little bit more. It's not my natural voice when I'm doing a live stream, and so I'm feeling it. I'm gonna have to drink some tea and honey after this. But But yeah, so next week I'm going to be looking at the contrast challenge, but I will be going backwards too. So I will get to the other ones, but that's going to be next Thursday. Next Wednesday, Sam, Will, and I are going to be doing a live stream at 2 p.m. Eastern, or Eastern Pacific time. And all that info can be found in the live sessions and replays page. And so here you can see that the next live stream pops up. We have our whole schedule here. Now, some things might change depending on if we go out and film Photo Dash, or I know there's a week where I'm traveling up to San Francisco for a Udemy conference. So I'll delete those events from here. But this is where you can find all that information. All the live streams will be here on the Photography and Friends YouTube page. So make sure you're subscribed here on YouTube so you get notified. But also the links will be here as well in each event. But it all directs you back here to the YouTube page. And if you have questions that you want us to cover and you can't make it live next week, post them to the comments of that week's Q&A or the next Q&A, and we'll try to get to as many as possible. But yeah, Sam and Will are super excited. We'll do a recap of what they've been up to. Will did a whole summer where he was working on a dude ranch in Northern California. That's where like people can go pretend to be cowboys for vacation, but they're actually out on horses and taking care of the horses and stuff. And he was on a horse taking photos of all these people on their horses. And so if you're not following him on Instagram, go do that, because he had been posting just fun videos of him out in this beautiful location. And Sam, I don't know what Sam has been up to. He's always up to something, and we'll catch up next week and bring your questions. And speaking of Instagram, if you follow me on Instagram, I didn't delete it, but I logged out and am not going on Instagram or Facebook right now. And I don't want to go back, honestly. I feel like it ended up, while I liked posting photos there, I didn't, most of the time I was just going and ended up on the reels or the shorts or whatever page. And it's like, I don't want to spend my time doing that. And if the app is designed for me to just to get people to do that, that's like, I don't honestly want to participate in that. So it's unfortunate because I want a place to share my photos. I like the portfolio of photos that I put there, but right now it's just not the place for me. So we'll see. I'll keep you updated on how that's doing in the future. But for now, join the community if you're not. Have a beautiful day, and I will see you next week in the Q&A and for Frame by Frame on Thursday. All right, bye everyone. Thanks a lot. Peace.